They ran the simulations 1,000 times. Every outcome was the same. Earth would collapse. So when humanity didn't break, when it didn't surrender, the galaxy realized something had gone terribly wrong. Intro: the invaders didn't hate humanity. They didn't even respect it. To them, Earth was a predictable variable, a young world divided, technologically behind, emotionally unstable. Collapse was inevitable. Resistance was inefficient. Surrender was logical. That's why no one prepared for what actually happened. Humanity didn't win quickly. It didn't unleash a god weapon. It didn't rewrite the laws of physics. It simply refused to fall apart. And in a galaxy built on certainty, that was more dangerous than any superweapon. They expected collapse. Humanity delivered resistance. The coalition did not invade Earth with urgency. Urgency was for equals. The arrival. When the first coalition fleets appeared at the edge of the solar system, there were no alarms across the galaxy, no emergency councils, no sudden shifts in trade routes. This was routine. The coalition had absorbed hundreds of worlds before. Young civilizations followed patterns. Political fracture, military overconfidence, emotional decision-making. Earth matched the profile perfectly. A divided species. Competing power blocks. Rapid but uneven technological growth. Collapse was a matter of timing, not possibility. The projection. Coalition analysts completed their simulations within hours. Human orbital defenses would fail in days. Industrial capacity would fracture under blockade. Public morale would break first. They predicted resistance, but only long enough to justify surrender. One model summarized it cleanly. Humanity will exhaust itself before meaningful adaptation occurs. The coalition moved forward. Calm, methodical, certain. The offer. The ultimatum was transmitted in hundreds of languages simultaneously. Polite, structured, unemotional. Integration ensures survival. Resistance increases suffering. The coalition expected panic, or desperate bargaining. Instead, Earth requested time. The coalition granted it, because delay did not change outcomes. The human debate. On Earth, the debate was chaotic. Nations argued. Corporations calculated losses. Citizens protested and prepared at the same time. There was no heroic unity. No inspiring speech that solved everything. Only a shared understanding. Surrender would mean ending the human story on someone else's terms. That, at least, was unacceptable. No miracle. The coalition waited for the reveal every species attempted. The secret fleet. The ancient artifact. The final deterrent meant to scare an empire. Nothing came. Humanity was painfully honest. There was no hidden weapon. No unbeatable defense. Just fleets that were smaller, weaker, and outnumbered. That honesty reinforced coalition confidence. The first test. When the deadline passed, the coalition struck. Not at Earth itself. At the space around it. Satellites went dark. Shipyards were disabled. Human patrol fleets were pushed back with surgical precision. The coalition expected chaos. They got organization. Human commanders withdrew instead of chasing glory. Civilian evacuation began before panic could spread. Emergency production lines activated within hours. Earth bent, but it did not break. The line they missed. In a post-action report, a junior coalition observer noted something unusual. Human responses show coordinated restraint rather than desperation. The note was archived, ignored, because empires don't fall to restraint. They fall to force. Or so the coalition believed. They expected collapse. Humanity delivered resistance. The coalition tightened its grip and waited for Earth to fall apart. It didn't. The siege that failed. Orbital lanes into Sol were sealed. Trade vessels were intercepted or turned away. Energy relays were disabled with precise, non-lethal strikes. To the coalition, this phase always worked. Civilizations fractured under pressure. Regions blamed each other. Leaders turned inward. Earth did none of that. Human shipping rerouted through improvised corridors. Civilian industries were repurposed within weeks. Data networks became decentralized, harder to disrupt. The coalition noticed and adjusted. Human warfare is untidy. Coalition doctrine valued efficiency above all else. Clean engagements, optimal ranges, predictable responses. Human warfare was the opposite. Small task groups struck without warning. Civilian retrofitted craft acted as decoys. Human ships disengaged mid-fight if the math stopped favoring them. To coalition commanders, it looked like cowardice until supply convoys started vanishing. Adaptation speed. Each coalition victory produced diminishing returns. Human fleets returned redesigned. Shield frequencies shifted unpredictably. Weapons were modified based on battlefield telemetry within days. The coalition refined strategies over decades. Humans did it between battles. That speed unsettled analysts. The unity myth. Coalition observers expected Earth to unify fully under threat. It didn't. Human governments still argued. Political blocs still clashed. Yet when ships launched, they shared targeting data. When cities were threatened, borders vanished. Humanity didn't achieve perfect unity. It achieved functional cooperation. That was enough. The cost of mercy. The coalition still believed restraint would bring surrender. Civilian centers were avoided. Population hubs spared. They underestimated what that would do. Every spared city became a factory. Every surviving population became manpower. Every mercy extended strength and resolve. Earth wasn't grateful. It was motivated. The turning point. Near the asteroid belt of the outer system, the coalition made a mistake. A major logistics fleet entered Sol under standard escort protocols. Humanity saw an opportunity, not to win a battle, but to slow a war. The attack was messy, uncoordinated, improvised, and devastating. The logistics fleet survived, but retreated. For the first time, coalition supply timelines slipped. And for the first time, analysts marked a new projection. Human resistance duration, indeterminate. The word collapse disappeared from the models. The enemy you can't target. Coalition fleets searched for concentrations of human forces. They found none. Human ships never massed, never held ground, never defended territory. They appeared disrupted, vanished. Every engagement ended before it became a battle. Coalition weapons were powerful, but useless against enemies who refused to stay. The internal debate. For the first time, coalition strategists disagreed. One faction argued for escalation, crush Earth decisively, end uncertainty, accept the political cost. Another argued restraint. Humanity had not crossed escalation thresholds. Civilian populations remained untouched. The Empire's moral authority still held. And worst of all, there was no clear target. You cannot crush what you cannot pin down. The cost of mercy. Coalition rules forbade planetary devastation without justification. Humanity exploited that mercy ruthlessly. Every spared city became a factory. Every untouched population became manpower. Every day without annihilation strengthened resolve. Earth did not beg. It endured. The turning point. 3 coalition supply failures in one cycle. Not destroyed. Not attacked. Just denied. Fleet movements slowed. Patrol ranges shortened. Operational margins tightened. For the first time, a new line appeared in coalition projections. Human resistance duration undefined. The word collapse vanished from the models. The realization partial. Humanity was not trying to win battles. It was trying to outlast certainty. Every day the war continued. The coalition paid a price. Every week, confidence eroded. Every month, escalation became riskier. Humanity had learned long ago, empires do not fall when they lose wars. They fall when wars stop making sense. The old human rule, deep in Earth's archives, an ancient military phrase resurfaced. If you can't defeat the enemy, deny them victory. Humanity didn't need to destroy the Armada. It only needed to make conquest impossible. When endurance became fear, the war that refused to end, there was no decisive battle, no heroic last stand, no climactic clash of fleets. And that, more than anything, unsettled the coalition. Their war doctrine demanded conclusions, clear victories, clear defeats. Humanity offered neither. Days passed, then weeks. Coalition fleets held positions they could not advance from and territory they could not abandon without losing face. Every movement required supplies that arrived late, or not at all. Every system still worked, just worse. The thing models couldn't predict. Coalition simulations updated constantly. They accounted for firepower. They accounted for losses. They accounted for morale collapse. What they could not model was refusal. Humanity did not escalate. It did not surrender. It did not break. It simply continued. Human resistance curves flattened, not because strength was fading, but because it had stabilized. And nothing in coalition history prepared them for an enemy that reached equilibrium under pressure. The first admission. The first honest report came from a senior logistics commander. It was short, uncomfortable. Conquest timelines are no longer reliable. Resource expenditure exceeds strategic value. Human resistance is self-sustaining. The word collapse did not appear once. The internal fracture. Coalition leadership split. One faction demanded escalation at any cost. End the farce. Break Earth openly. Accept the consequences. The other faction hesitated. Humanity had not crossed the coalition's moral red lines. No civilian massacres. No scorched planets. No weapons of extinction. To annihilate Earth now would mean admitting something far worse than defeat. It would mean fear. The unthinkable question. A junior strategist asked what no one wanted to say aloud. What if we cannot force them to stop? Silence followed, because if the answer was yes, then the coalition had encountered something fundamentally incompatible with empire. What humanity never said. Humanity never broadcast threats, never issued declarations of vengeance, never claimed superiority. There were no speeches meant for alien ears. There was only action and patience. Humanity had learned this lesson long before the stars. You don't defeat something larger than you by challenging it directly. You make its size a liability. The final strain. Coalition fleets began consolidating, not advancing, not retreating, holding. That alone was unprecedented. Supply chains stretched thinner. Maintenance cycles slipped. Crew fatigue rose. Human interference never stopped, never spiked, just continued. Like erosion, the decision no one announced. There was no vote, no proclamation, no admission of failure. Orders were quietly amended, forward operations suspended, territorial objectives downgraded, engagement thresholds raised. The Armada stopped pressing inward. Then, slowly, it began to pull back. The moment humanity noticed. Human commanders didn't celebrate. They watched. 4 traps, 4 feints, for retaliation. None came. Coalition fleets retreated in stages, maintaining dignity, formation, and silence. Earth did not pursue. Humanity had no interest in revenge. Only survival. The galactic record. Before leaving the Sol system, the Coalition updated its archives. Earth's classification changed. Not hostile, not conquered, but non-compliant. Strategically unsustainable. The annotation beneath it was brief, cold, and unprecedented. Humanity does not collapse under pressure. It adapts. It endures. Avoid prolonged engagement. After the war that wasn't, Earth rebuilt. Slowly, messily, arguing the entire time. Humanity did not become unified. It did not become enlightened. It did not become peaceful. It became something far more dangerous. Experienced. The galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget. Some species conquer by force. Some conquer by fear. Humanity survives by refusing to end. Final truth. The coalition came to Sol expecting collapse. They found resistance. Not loud, not glorious, not triumphant, but absolute. Humanity didn't retreat. It remembered, and that was enough.